listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to an episode of the 23 Personnel Podcast. I am your host, Spencer, joined by Michael. Michael, what's up, man?
Good evening. We are 1-0, looking to go 1-0 yet again. What are you up to?
Just trying to stack success. 1-0.
That's it. That's the famous phrase.
In every moment.
That we love.
Every day.
Day by day, these things I pray, to love thee more dearly, to see thee more clearly, whatever it is. I can't remember.
All the above. All right, we are going to put a bow on the UAPB game. Final thoughts. And then get into Kent State preview. Spoiler alert, Michael. I don't know if you were reading through all the notes I had. It's not a rosy picture for the Golden Flashes.
Well,
Kent, Ohio.
Not so fast, my friend, because that defense did some work this weekend. I've got a little bit of update on that for you.
Well, they're gonna have a long way to go, pulling up from 130th SP plus defensive rating.
Oh, I thought you were talking about 130th Street in Lubbock.
Hey, that's my hood.
I know. That's why I was confused. That's where
hood.
you used to be.
Yep. A little further south these days, but and then we'll get a wrap around not a wrap around, a whip around wrap up of the rest of the Big 12. See how everybody else did or did not do. And then wrap it up. So let's jump into final thoughts now that we've had a couple minutes to digest, watch the rest of the game now that we've done that. Any other thoughts on Arkansas Pine Bluff, Michael?
I am very concerned about Behren Morton. That's pretty much my only thought. And I think you'll have a little bit more insight to that of what the coaches said during the press conferences. But that's my main one. I mean, I feel like it's hard to get a real gauge of what you have when you have an opponent, no offense, like UAPB come to town. But they did what we expected them to do. It was dominating on both sides. It was enjoyable to watch and see, but Morton's hyperextended knee does give me pause. That's my biggest concern, because I think that we didn't know what his injury was or what was going on really until after we recorded our instant reaction. I mean, for one thing, the game wasn't even over before we recorded our instant reaction. So it was a crazy night.
We fired up the microphones to start our instant reaction at halftime.
Yeah, as they were kicking off the final 16 minutes of game time.
Those that listened knew that for a long time we couldn't even tell you who scored that 65-yard run.
Yeah, it was team.
It was team rush, and then it was attributed to Adam Hill. And then it was corrected and fixed to Wheels Hammond.
I heard I think we had Roy asking about where to
I couldn't tell
if he was
being serious or not. That's been a funny running bit for years now with the streaming platforms. This one, actually not on a streaming platform, more of traditional cable provider.
Oh, the Kent State game?
Yeah.
Correct. That's true.
Going to be on TNT. We'll get to that a little bit more in depth. I want to go back to the Behren Morton injury play, and go back to talking about the impact of the Quinton Joyner injury. And this is not a knock on Adam Hill. He wasn't even involved in the play. But again, we were just Quinton Joyner goes down and it was like, oh, it's okay. We got Adam Hill. We're going to be just fine. We got Adam Hill. Yeah, well, guess what? Joyner was being touted as being one of the best pass block pickup running backs that we had. Dickey whiffed completely on that dude. The coaches said I think they were trying to soften the blow and not like lay everything on Cam Dickey, but they said he misread the blitz. So he thought the inside linebacker was going to come free, and not come from the outside. I don't know about you, Michael. I remember as an offensive lineman when I played many years ago, and not very advanced level of football, we were told to work inside out. We like if we're gonna get overloaded, we're gonna make sure that the free guy's gonna come from the outside. Just an extra step or two that they have to go to get to messing things up in the backfield. So if they're trying to say he really thought the free man was gonna come up, from the inside. I mean, I don't, man. Either way, it's not a again. I'm not blaming Dickey. I'm just pointing out again. Losing Quinton Joyner is hurting again in a different area, and he can't just plaster over and say, "Oh, it's okay because we got this great, athletic fullback back there from a 2A high school, and Adam Hill is everything's gonna be just fine." I would be even more insufferable. I'll just let you know if Adam Hill was in the game and the injury occurred, you would not hear the end of it.
I don't think anyone would be surprised.
Going to that aspect, everybody was obviously concerned. Morton got up, finished that drive, then went up to the locker room, seemed to be moving okay. And then when he came back out, even Chris Level said, like, on the sideline, given even more time, that he was moving fairly gingerly. The comments from both Leftwich and McGuire and the Monday afternoon press conference. Sorry if you're hearing the fan on the laptop. Sounds like we're about to get an airplane taken off here. Basically, said, nothing was structurally damaged, and in terms of like nothing was broken or torn or ruptured. But that essentially it's going to come down to how much pain can he tolerate.
I hate this. I hate the sound of this. I don't like this at all.
My concern is, this doesn't change his, like, it's not an injury to his throwing arm or throwing motion. It is his plant foot. So that's not ideal. It's not that leg is really ideal if you're going to be injured, but yeah, it's just, we got an hour's worth of football, like actual clock time. We got 20 minutes of game time with Behren Morton completely healthy before he gets injured again. And it's not that, he's re-injured something. It's something else. Like he rolled an ankle his first game, then his shoulders, and now he's got a knee. Wow, this thing is just getting louder and louder.
I can't, for what it's worth, I can't hear it.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. That's good to know. McGuire said he'd play. What was his words? What did McGuire actually say? Where did I write it? more muscle soreness, ankle. So he said it was a good thing that he was actually hitting away in a way that his foot wasn't completely planted and kind of locked into the ground. His ankle it didn't roll, but it turned enough that like it deflected some of the brunt of the hit off of his knee. He'll be day to day, ramping back up to his ability. And then he said, we'll play on Saturday if he feels up to it. And Leftwich added a little bit later, it's a tolerance kind of thing. So we already know, we know like last season, obviously he missed entire weeks of practice between games he started. Like he wouldn't even throw. And still was able to go out there and play. So like he obviously still has a chance to get out there and play and start and throw and all that kind of stuff. Whether or not he throws during the week, you probably don't need him this weekend. You would like to get him, comfortable in the offense and everybody around him comfortable. Going into Oregon State and then Utah. But I don't know. I hate it.
I do too. I think that the next man up mentality or whatever is fine, but not necessarily in week 2. I'm not really excited about the prospect of Morton not being 100% for 11 games. And that's just me being a bummer. That's me sounding sad. I don't want anybody to think that I blame anyone or I'm upset with anyone. I'm just sad. I'm sad for him. I can't imagine how he feels not getting to, getting to probably barely break a sweat in week 1. And then next thing you know, you're sidelined indefinitely, depending on how much pain you can tolerate. My goodness.
Yeah.
It's like some 1980s necessary roughness stuff.
So, I mean, we're not WebMD here, but WebMD, Dr. Google says mild knee hyperextensions may recover within 2 to 4 weeks with home care. Granted, he's going to have access to higher level of care than just home care, right? He's got physical therapists and trainers and underwater, treadmill type stuff. Moderate could take 6 to 8 weeks. Severe, I think, would be classified if he had like torn something or dislocated his knee. And we've seen some real nasty stuff with Eric Stevens' injury, where you tear all kinds of things. It wasn't that, but I mean, shoot. I wouldn't be surprised if he played only a little bit on Saturday, and we may see him for a while playing with a knee brace.
Do you think he starts on Saturday? Do you think it's possible Hammond might get the start? That may not make a lot of sense.
I think it's possible Hammond starts. I don't think it would go Hammond to Morton. If Hammond starts, it'll be Hammond's game.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess so. Because you wouldn't want Morton to come in. In theory, you want Morton with the 1s.
Yeah.
And so you would want him to start. You wouldn't want him to come in with the 2s and having Hammond played with the 1s all game. I don't know.
I mean, Hammond looked good once he got settled. I say that once he got settled. I mean, he broke up that 65-yard touchdown, and he did what he did Saturday night. Okay, so going back to Saturday night, we look at the statistical output of the game, and like, oh, it was against FCS. Remember, they played roughly 3/4 of a game.
Mm-hmm.
Both second half quarters were cut essentially in half, which is rare. I was looking into it a little bit. It does happen. It probably happens, once or twice every season across the entire, college football. But it takes an agreement between both head coaches and some level of AD or admin, and then for the referee. You asked in the notes, like, could it have also been impacted by the referee injury that happened in the first half? Maybe.
Yeah, because I know they typically travel with an alternate, right? But I'm assuming that alternate was pulled into action. So, you've got a wet field that experienced like 3 inches of rain in 45 minutes, and you're down one referee, and you've got the team up by 40 something. So yeah, it seemed like a good recipe to try to, to try to shorten things a little bit and get everybody out of there.
Yeah. So I've seen it shortened anywhere between like to 5-minute quarters, just down to 10-minute quarters. So there's not like a standard shortened quarter length. And I misspoke. There isn't a running clock in a game, but they will shorten it, and then just utilize regular timing procedures. But when I was talking about how it was going to be shortened and it could have had a running clock, they don't do running clocks in actual games. So, anyways, in that rain delay, Michael, I'm sure everybody's seen it by now. Texas Tech picked up the commitment, the verbal commitment from class of 27 offensive lineman Cooper Hackett, 5-star guy, which is one incredible that it happened on Saturday too. During the rain delay, like they weren't just sitting around kind of twiddling their thumbs waiting for the go ahead to get out back out in the field. And lastly, like he was actively on an official visit to a different school. He was at Arkansas.
We drink your milkshake.
Wait, drink it up. It's a great scene, by the way. I love it. So it's just everything around that is just fantastic. Let's go through the press conference really quickly. We talked about the Morton injury. McGuire was asked about how communication went, and he talked about green dot for the safety. He said from his perspective, he thought the communication went well. And then talking with Shield Wood and the defensive staff, said it was the cleanest first game of the season in terms of communicating and getting everything lined up. Again, like I don't know how much of this is your opponent, but like it did feel like there were very few, if any, lapses that I could think of. Like, oh, that was something we need to clean up. We need to make note of that. Make sure that's fixed. He did say there were just 2 pre-snap penalties, and those are obviously something that we want to continue to eliminate. But again, he said probably the least number of those that he's ever had in his career in game 1. He was asked about
that. Makes me feel bad because I pointed all 4 of them out, I think, during our podcast on the instant reaction. I kind of like, well, it would have been nice to have those cleaned up, but I think I don't know what I was thinking, but that was pretty good in retrospect.
Yeah. He was asked about star depth and how all that's going to shake out with the Michael Dingle injury. And for those that didn't listen or whatever, or weren't following along, he had basically just been cleared and come back from a different injury, which is just terrible for him. He had been back maybe a few weeks, got into the game, in that rotation between Curry, who had been moved over there because of all of the injuries. He's helping cover for himself, Dingle, and McCarty. So the plan now, they were saying, is going to be to keep John Curry out there. McCarty is fully back now and will continue to work his way into the rotation. Said that we're probably a week away from getting Marcus Ramon Edwards cleared to be the third option there. But then also mentioned, a couple other guys that are on the 2 deep and other positions that could slide over if necessary, and Oliver Miles and BJ Jordan. There was something else I wanted to touch on and it was actually like as she asked the question, I was like, well, that's a really good question. And then the way that McGuire answered, I was like, that was all around just a great question answer. I wanted to share it. The report, I don't know her name. I can't even tell you which outlet she's from, but she asked, how do other games around the conference change his preparation or perception of the Big 12? And he goes on and says, it highlights the need to focus on eliminating bad football, and that his focus is, he says, let's learn from everyone else. So we don't have to make the same mistake that a Kansas State makes, or an Arizona makes, or a Houston makes, for us to learn from it and get better. And I'm not picking on those teams specifically for something they did wrong, or not saying that he said that, but just that, like, there are things that he said, early on in the season, we get a lot of sloppy and bad football. And they will use that as a learning opportunity for each, player, position group, whatever, to say, hey, this could happen to us. Let's figure out what they did wrong, what we could do to mitigate that and get better. And I just thought it was a really good. Instead of saying, oh, everybody's learning and getting better. We're going to focus on us. It was like, we're going to learn wherever we can to make sure that we're as prepared as we can be.
Yeah, that's a great point, because that is a really good way to word that and ask that, because you watch football. I'm sure between the coaches, they probably watched most of the Big 12 games over the weekend, and saw a lot of things that maybe they had seen in their own practices. As an example, something like, how we told you to do X during this scenario. Well, here's what happens if you don't. And it's just a play of, someone on TCU running for 48 yards for a touchdown.
Oh my goodness.
or whatever.
Was wild.
It was brutal.
Last thing I want to touch on McGuire's piece before we move on to the coordinators briefly. He was asked about his evaluation of the kickers, because going into the game, he said, yes, we'll rotate everybody. We'll try to give everybody a chance. We talked about what that rotation looked like throughout the game. McGuire confirmed, like, Stone Harrington's going to be your kickoff guy. He's got a chance to be one of the biggest kickoff kickers in the country. You had seen him put a lot of kicks in and through the end zone. And then Ian Hershey came in and he did some kickoffs. Notably, there was one that had a return on it. He came out and said, yeah, we told Ian not to kick it through the end zone, to let our coverage guys have something to cover and practice and see. If you kick every kick out of the end zone and never get a chance to defend it, what happens when you miss one and don't kick it through the end zone? Like, your kickoff coverage team is going to be just so out of practice, essentially. And then he touched on, kind of ironically, or shared a funny story. Jack Burgess, the punter, he's now had 2 games in his career at Texas Tech where his family has flown out from Australia to watch the game. But both games never got into the game except to hold extra points.
Well, at least he did that, because I remember him making a point about that during fall camp.
Yeah, and he made the joke. It was probably during fall camps, like, specifically for punters, nobody wants to come out and watch you play except for your mom. And we're gonna do what we can to keep you on the sideline, except for the fact that he holds on extra points. But he said, I don't know if we'd have the budget for it or how we get it approved, but, like, we want to fly his family out every game, because if they don't get to see him play at all, and in games that his parents are there, then let's do that. Let's keep the offense on the field and all that. I thought was funny. So coordinators, we'll do defensive first. Kent State did play both of their quarterbacks, and Shieldwood was asked about it. Essentially, he said they're going to prepare for both. I don't know what their rotation is, their plan is, but we'll look at the stats here in a minute. They essentially played very similar styles. It's not like one was a running quarterback, one was a passer. They performed about the same. One is a senior, one is a freshman. So the senior got the start from what I could tell, because their first drive was 4 straight rushes and it was a 4 and out. They did not convert on a 4th down. But then the second drive, and then I think the third drive had the older quarterback in there. Was asked about the pass rush for UAPB against them. Again, said it was fine for week 1. There was a play that there was a 3rd and long that the quarterback was able to scramble a little bit, extend the play, and then find an open receiver to convert. He said we got to get that kind of cleaned up a little bit. He said that we were in a great position depth-wise to be able to play as many guys as they were in week 1. Mentioned, at least in the question, that they had 26 guys record a tackle, which is just ridiculous. Was asked about the weather delay affecting gameplay and player rotation, and Wood confirmed like they had initially thought about and planned for leaving the starters in a little bit later into the game, but that with the weather delay and shortened quarters, they said we're going to go ahead and start a rotation a little bit earlier. And then the last thing I want to touch on was that his message to the guys, through week 1, it wasn't so much like, hey, we need to do X coverage better or X, Y rush better, but more high level that we need to help the guys understand they need to do their 1/11th, and sometimes making a play is just leveraging a block to allow another player to make the tackle. Is that you don't have to be the hero on the play. You don't even have to be involved in the tackle to be doing your job. And that sometimes, your 1/11th is just holding a block and letting somebody else get free to make a tackle, which I thought was, trying not to do too much, or not trying to do too much to keep everything fundamentally sound in front of you. Lastly, let's go through the offense. Very similar message that we heard from McGuire and Wood on week 1 communication. Leftwich is asked about the communication along the offensive line, said it was good for game 1. But unfortunately, there was a small number of plays where there was some miscommunication that resulted in the quarterback getting hit. And he said that's obviously when you get a quarterback that's injured on a hit, like we have to clean that up. You have to make sure that's all squared away. You did end up playing. I think the line at the end of the game had 4 freshmen playing, so you were able to get a lot of guys in and play. But you make sure that communication is sharp. He's asked specifically about how Roy Alexander will be involved moving forward. He said that he wants to see him involved more, because I couldn't tell you how much Alexander was involved offensively. I know he was on the punt return teams, but we talked about pass protection for the running backs. And then obviously Hammond in his performance, Leftwich credited all of the banked reps, he said, with the ones this spring and off season, had allowed him to slide in there at the end of the first half and then early in the second half, as seamlessly as that was, because of just how, he's not a normal backup. He had starting experience last season. He's been here. He was able to play a lot with the ones early on. So anything else from the Monday morning press conference you want to touch on, or anything else you noticed?
No, I mean, I was a little bit surprised that Leftwich seems to kind of want to keep the or there between the running backs, but I mean, I guess that makes sense. If you're really trying to shoot for a 1-2 punch, then that's the way to do it. I was really impressed with Williams, though. He's not that I forgot how good he can be, especially when he gets into any sort of open space, but it was fun to watch him again. I was thrilled to see him. So I'm kind of interested that they are still just going to go with the hot hand for maybe an indefinite amount of time, maybe the rest of the year. Who knows?
Yeah, they play so differently. It's like it's hard to say like, hey, this is going to be your number one, this is going to be your number two.
Right.
I guess just depending on who's hot and what the defense is giving you. I don't know. I don't love it. I would prefer to have a number one, but I think that's just because I'm spoiled with what we had with Taj Brooks the last few years, and even before then, it's Roderick Thompson. So we'll get an official injury report. I believe it comes out Wednesdays. Expect Behren Morton to be questionable.
Yeah,
I don't know how they'll actually define it, but I'm sure he'll be on there somewhere. All right, you want to talk about week 1 results from around the Big 12?
Yeah, we can. You want to jump into that, or do you want to hit up well, we probably should do that first before we get into the AP Top 25 update.
Well, whichever way you want to do. You want to talk about the games first? You want to do the update, the ranking?
Let's do games. Let's do games, then updates. So because cause then effect.
Sure. I did not watch the UCF game. The score kind of surprised me. UCF was a nearly 3 touchdown favorite. They ended up winning 17-10, and apparently they were trailing going into the fourth quarter. So
they had a very similar day that Lubbock did. I mean, the game started at 6 and it didn't end till almost 11, or it was after 10 because of a pretty significant delay. So they kind of experienced a similar thing, except their offense was doo-doo as opposed to being lights out, incredible, scoring every single drive.
Yeah.
That was the only difference.
To be fair, Texas Tech did not score every single drive. They did not score in their last drive.
Oh.
They ran the clock out. Sorry. Oklahoma State was a 4 touchdown favorite. Also did not cover. Won 27-7 versus UT Martin. Did not watch any of this game on Thursday.
I watched a little bit, hoping that UT Martin would make a game of it, but you could tell that wasn't going to happen.
Did he? Is his name Haas Haney? Did injure his foot, their starting quarterbacks, when they went to their backup Flores. That may have had something to do with it. So Houston took care of SFA 27-0, did cover. Good for them. The big game from Thursday night was Nebraska-Cincinnati. Nebraska was a 6-point favorite. Cincinnati did cover, although Nebraska won 20-17. I watched a lot of this game. Cincinnati looked okay. It didn't seem like they capitalized on opportunities. And biggest thing was just like as much talk as like returning quarterbacks were in the Big 12. Sorsby just got to be better. He was just did not look good.
Yeah, that last throw, obviously. I mean, that's hindsight 2020 kind of thing. But man, I kind of get making a home run throw there, but maybe not into double coverage on the sideline. But yeah, I mean, it had 41 seconds left, I think, at the time. They were driving down by 3. I felt like they were at the very least going to get a chance to tie it and go into overtime. But, you hated to see that interception, or at least I did, because I was rooting for Big 12 friendly Cincinnati.
Yeah. I guess I would have preferred Cincinnati to win this one, but I wasn't like rooting for them. But
yeah, rooting for is probably a strong word on my end, but I wanted Nebraska to lose.
There you go. 3 Big 12 games on Friday. Wagner at Kansas. Kansas was a 45.5 point favorite. Ends up winning 46-7. Georgia Tech at Colorado, 7 p.m. They were a 3-point favorite in Boulder, ended up covering and winning 27-20. Mike, I don't know if you watched the end of this game, but like
I did. It was maddening.
What were we doing? And I say we, like Universal, like there was no time management. I think they took over. Georgia State took the lead. Colorado got the ball back. And then just didn't do themselves any favors with play calling or timeout management, and just got into a position where they basically had to force 2 Hail Mary throws there to even have a chance, just because of the clock situation. And yeah, it feels simple. Like when you end the game with 2 timeouts in your pocket, like you could have and should have stopped the clock and taken a breather, talk to your freshman quarterback some on the sideline. I don't know, but it's a bold strategy there by Dion, and it did not pay off.
No, that was pretty maddening. Even though that game I was kind of just rooting for a good game. I don't hate Colorado. I like the publicity Colorado gets. It's just got to be so cool to be them, to be on ESPN last week. I know it was a Friday night, but I think they're on Fox this week. Let me see if that's right. Because I made kind of a mental note. I thought it was interesting. So they play, Delaware at Colorado. Not to get ahead of ourselves, but week 2, Colorado is a 23.5 point home favorite, and they're going to get to play Delaware on Fox at 2:30.
The Blue Hens.
Because they are Colorado, and they're a draw now. It's just I'm happy for them. Good. Enjoy it, Buffs. Enjoy it, Buffs, while you can.
Yeah, because that game for like a Texas Tech or like Iowa State would be on ESPN Plus.
Absolutely on the plus. Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the only. There are 1, 2, 3 broadcast games in the Big 12 out of 15 games this week, and that's one of them. I don't know. You might count the CW. The CW is technically broadcast. So there's 4. There's 4 broadcast games.
Yeah. And then the other game Friday night, Auburn at Baylor. Auburn was a 1-point favorite. Ended up winning 38-24. And it didn't even feel that close.
That Auburn, one felt over when Baylor went for it on 4th and 1, I think, at the goal line. And I can't remember what the play was, but it was a bad pass, or it was just kind of, it wasn't a good play call. But that's neither here nor there, because then Auburn proceeded to go 90-something yards and score on a pretty methodical drive. And I felt like that's it. That is the end. They will not come back from that. You just can't.
Yeah, that 1-2 punch of not converting any points on 4th down and then allowing a 90-plus yard drive to score. Like,
yeah, because that was probably a lot of Aranda's reasoning for it, or Spavital or whoever came up with the idea to go for it. So it was just, if we don't get it, what are they going to do? Drive 90-something yards on us? Yes, that's actually exactly what they're going to do.
Let me pull this up really quickly. I'm interested to see what that drive actually was like. It looked like, obviously when you have here we go. Thank you, ESPN. Yeah, 96 yards.
There it is.
12 play, 96-yard drive from Auburn.
Yeah, it was a good drive. It wasn't like there were huge broken plays. It wasn't a 4-play drive or something. It was, a methodical. Just, hey, we're gonna do whatever we want, and we're gonna go 96 yards in the process.
And I noticed this. If you look at the stat sheet from Sawyer Robertson, it doesn't look that bad. He put up like 400 yards through the air, but then you like they only scored 24 points doing it. It's like, it's just, you moved the ball, you just didn't do anything about it. You didn't really. Anyways, that puts a little dent in my confidence for Baylor this season. We'll see how they bounce back, but Robert Moore, we'll get into the Saturday games. Robert Morris at West Virginia. Here's one of the games we had. From the few wins we had on the West Virginia schedule, they won 45-3. Good for them. They covered. Iowa State proving that of the 4 Dakota schools, South Dakota was the worst and took care of business as a 17-point favorite. They won by 48 points, 55-7. Had no hangover coming back from Dublin and playing on Saturday like their Farmageddon compatriots there, Kansas State, hosting the third best of the Dakota schools, North Dakota. Kansas State was a 4-touchdown favorite and needed a go-ahead drive there with, I can't remember, like under 2 minutes to take the lead. And then had to hold on late. Like North Dakota was driving late with the ball. And on their 4th down that they did not end up converting, North Dakota had a receiver, hit him in the hands. The ball got through the hands and actually hit the receiver in the helmet. So he was not able to corral that. Another blow to the preseason thoughts or projections where I had Kansas State. I didn't have them all that great, but them struggling with North Dakota was not something that just did not bode well for them. BYU did not struggle. Portland State 69-0. They even got a slightly cringy tweet from the official account. I don't know if you saw this, Michael. They said it was a pretty nice way to start the season.
Yeah, I could have predicted it.
I was like,
no, I didn't see it.
And to be honest, like, one, do they know what they were doing? Because like you almost can give that crowd like benefit of the doubt. Like, did they know what they were doing? But then if they do, like, what are we doing? that's like a Barstool account level joke, not from the official account. Arizona State hosted Northern Arizona. I watched a little bit of this one, like a recap of it. They were 31-point favorites, where the Sun Devils ended up winning 38-19, and Northern Arizona was driving late. They were up 17-6 at the half. They needed a fake punt early to get the offense moving, and then ended up scoring on that drive. Did get Jalen Tyson going. They have 2 running backs named Brown, and they both look pretty good. Like, they not scattaboo, but like, I don't think they're going to be like, there's not going to be that drop off. Levitt is just, it seemed like once he got going, especially on the ground, like he's going to be pretty good this season.
Mm-hmm.
Score was closer, obviously, than the line. This may have been a Northern Arizona Super Bowl type of thing. Like this, like they're gearing up for this one. I don't think it means so much that Arizona State's on as good as we thought. I have no other way to defend that other than what I saw from Arizona State. They looked pretty good. Northern Arizona, I think, just looked better than expected.
Well, I don't remember Arizona State really blowing anybody out last year either.
They didn't.
They just won.
End.
Yeah, they won ball games. Yeah, until Iowa State.
Yeah,
basically. But yeah, they still could be a good ball team, ball club, whatever words.
Hawaii at Arizona, they were 15.5-point favorites. Were the Wildcats. Arizona won going away 40-6. So maybe Brent Brennan knows something. No, I'm just kidding. They don't. That's just one of the only games they're gonna pick up this year. And then I think one of the games that had me most surprised, Utah at UCLA. Utah was a touchdown favorite. Ends up winning by 33, 43-10. Early, I mean, game 1 returns show that Beck and Dampier, that offense translated to Utah just fine. defense is what it was last season. Maybe this means more for UCLA not being very good. Maybe it's a combination, but unfortunately for the Big 12, I think Utah looked pretty good that night. So
I'm still a hater. I'm not. I didn't watch the game, so that I can't have an opinion on it, and can just only assume that UCLA must be really bad.
Yeah,
that has to be it, Spencer. There can't be any other reason.
And Monday night, TCU at North Carolina. That line swing, man, it went from TCU favored by 3.5. North Carolina, I think, had a 1.5 at one point. I think you're showing here it settled as a half-point favorite. TCU won going away 48-14. Went and scored 41 unanswered. Some of that was defensive scoring too, so it wasn't all offense. But still, I mean, North Carolina had a 14-7 lead, and then that was it. TCU took over and never looked back. So confirmation bias for me that I thought they were going to be good. Not that good, but pretty good there. Great start against North Carolina and Bill Belichick.
Chapel Bill.
The only other notable game here would be if we're going to look ahead to our Week 3 opponent, Oregon State. They lost big to Cal at home, former Pac-12. Cal was a 2.5-point favorite and lost by 19. They lost 34-15. Did not look good. Oregon State did not look good. They started, I guess, they had a decent start, or then fell apart.
Yeah, and I know we'll have more to say about it next week, but yikes.
All right, let's talk about Kent State and the Golden Flashes, Michael.
Okay. Can I run through the AP real quick?
Oh, yes, we're going to go backwards into the cause and effect.
Yes. So AP preseason poll versus today. Today's Tuesday, so the AP poll came out today, the day after Labor Day. Some significant movement among Big 12 teams. That's all I'm going to focus on. So Arizona State came in at number 11 preseason. They finished after this week at number 12. I think some people were super impressed by Illinois' 52-3 win versus Western Illinois. And so they just had to put them in over Arizona State. So that's wonderful. Kansas State, preseason number 17, they are now out of the rankings. Iowa State, preseason number 22, they have moved up to number 16. I think that's valid. That makes sense. Texas Tech, preseason number 23. Oh, go ahead.
I think Iowa State moving up is okay, but to jump 6 spots after
2 games,
drubbing an FCS opponent
after beating Kansas State too.
Well, but
yeah,
could they not have been moved up last week?
They beat a ranked opponent in Ireland.
Well,
Don't you see the logic there? Even though Kansas State shouldn't have been ranked, but they were.
And like, had they moved up, into the 2019 range last week, it would have been fine. I don't know. It's just they get a lot of respect for beating.
Well, they didn't do it last week. They didn't redo the rankings after week 0. So they had to account both games.
Fair.
So Tech's preseason ranking was 23. Tech actually went down to 24.
Whatever.
I know, I agree. It's kind of whatever, but just keep winning. Go 1-0 this week. Let's do that first. So the only explanation there is Tennessee, who I believe was 25 or 24 preseason. They moved up. They had to move past Texas Tech to celebrate their 45-26 win versus Syracuse, powerhouse Syracuse, at a neutral site in Atlanta, which I'm sure was full of people from Syracuse, New York. So, yeah, totally neutral site. Anyway, Utah enters the chat. They were unranked in the preseason. They are now number 25. So not to look ahead too far, possible ranked matchup.
I think Utah was like in the very like that first realm of also receiving votes?
Yes. They were
On the
probably 26 or 7. I think, yeah, BYU was 26, actually. I think they were maybe 27 or 8. You're right.
Yeah.
So to that end, preseason, Colorado was receiving some votes. I really don't know why, but they're not anymore. So after week 1, the only other Big 12 teams kind of in the conversation, BYU again. They're still in purgatory over there at number 26. And then TCU and Kansas State still receiving votes, and then Baylor. So that is the AP Top 25 update for week 1.
Okay. Let's preview the Golden Flashes, Michael.
Alrighty.
Game will be 11 a.m. Get that morning kickoff. TNT HBO Max. Michael, the weather. It's going to be a beautiful fall day there in Lubbock, Texas. As of Tuesday, just because everybody loves the weather report, it showed a high of 79 for Saturday, 10% chance of rain. But what I looked at was the hourly forecast. It may have risen the temperature to 70 degrees by the time the ball is kicked off at 11 a.m. It will be a fresh morning in the LBK. So it will be bright, probably. Well, I say that. You have a chance of rain going some clouds there. It may feel warmer, but it will definitely not be 90 degrees and getting hotter. It will be 70 getting hotter. So go enjoy that. They are
That's
led
better.
interim head coach Mike Carney. It's his third season at Kent State. 2023 was the tight ends coach. Last season was the offensive coordinator, and then this season was elevated to interim head coach in April. Coming into Lubbock, Texas Tech is the number 6 best home team, second in the conference, versus Kent State, number 106 road team. Michael, I don't really care about their MAC schedule. Have you looked at the Kent State non-conference schedule?
I'm going to let you share it because you put it in here. Yes, because someone posted that in week 0 or week 1. Like it kind of made the rounds on Twitter as a look what Kent State has to go through this season. But yes, please share.
So they were riding a 21 game losing streak, and then put this schedule together. Well, not like they put it together in December or whatever. So they had Merrimack, so they won. They broke their 21 game losing streak. Beat them 21-17, so it wasn't all that great. But then on the road, Texas Tech this weekend, Florida State next weekend, and then Norman the weekend after that. That's tough.
We still don't know who Oklahoma is just yet. Florida State just beat Alabama. Wow, that's a stretch. That is a stretch.
So losing 21 games, obviously last season, 12 game schedule, they lost all of those. To win, it took 100-yard kickoff with 5:28 to go from obviously one of the all-name team members and a realist. He was the returner. So be on the lookout for a realist coming to Lubbock. Their last win was their third game of the 2023 season versus Central Connecticut, wherein they won 38-10. Offensively, Kent State is led by offensive coordinator Clay Patterson. Resume-wise, like you would think he's got skins on the wall, like he can do this. Was a record-setting coach at Trinity Valley Community College. They put up 656 yards a game. Had records for most plays in a season at 938, total yards at 7,778. And this one, Mike, was mind-blowing. Scored more than 50 points 23 times and averaged 54 points per game.
Gosh.
Also coached at Tarleton State, Texas A&M Kingsville, so back in my neck of the woods down here, Southeastern Oklahoma State, Then he went up to Minnesota and USF.
I think there's some Big 12 basketball teams that would love a 54 points per game offense.
Yeah. That's a good point. Looking at the coaching staff, another name guy, especially with the connection to Minnesota, their running backs coach is Muhammad Ibrahim, which was the running back from Minnesota a few years ago, where he set up all those records and was just running people over. So if you could translate a good playing career into a good coaching career, that's the kind of guy you want. Obviously, with an 0-12 season, 0-12 team, not many bright spots, but it was comically bad last season, especially on the offensive side. 2024, I just went through all the record-setting stuff and how good the offensive coordinator was before he got to Kent State. Last season, the entire season, they totaled 923 rushing yards at 2.7 yards per carry. Okay, well, maybe they just didn't have a good offensive line to run block and open up lanes, or they didn't have a good running back, or all of the above. Well, through the air, they had a total of 1,832 receiving yards or passing yards, 6.4 yards per attempt, which is horrendous, but 13.5 yards per catch.
Which is a pretty big disparity.
How's that work out? Well, it's because their starting quarterback only completed 46% of his passes.
And there it is. Okay.
The offense was responsible for only 20 touchdowns on the season. So a little less than 2 per game. We'll get to that. They averaged right at 14 points per game last season. Offensively, they were scoring less than 2 touchdowns a game. This season, they are so far through one game. We're playing 2 quarterbacks. Their starter from last season's gone. CJ Montez is the older of the two. Got the start last week. 6'2", 205, redshirt senior. It's a transfer. It's a grad transfer in from Fordham. Last week, he was 6 of 9 for 91 yards and a touchdown. Not a running threat, really. 5 carries for 1 yard, was sacked twice. So it's not like he's a running quarterback. Also played the younger guy. He's a redshirt freshman, and Drew DeShields, 6'2", 185. He was 6 of 10 for 118 yards. So, very similar completion percentage. The yardage is a little bit different, but because he had a 79-yard touchdown pass in there, also just had the 1 touchdown, 4 carries for 2 yards, and he was sacked once. So essentially the same guy. You just get an age difference with CJ Montez versus Drew DeShields. On the ground, through game 1, they're led by Gavin Garcia. He's a 5'7", 192 junior. He had 15 carries, but for only 49 yards, 3.3 yards per carry. Did not play last season because he was injured. The other running back you may see, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but Jose Kimbrough, a little bit more of a traditional running back size, 5'10", 190, sophomore, 7 carries for 39 yards, 5.6 yards per carry. They are replacing their top 2 receivers from last season, which wasn't great. We talked about they had 1,800 receiving yards last year. Their top 2 guys accounted for 1,400 of those. They had 84 catches, 1,400 yards, and 16 total touchdowns. So most of their offensive production is gone. Their remaining receiver returning is J.J. Etheridge. It's a small guy, 5'10", 160. Last season, he had 14 catches for 137 yards and a touchdown. This season, 2 catches, 13 yards. So on pace for the same production. Through game 1, their leading receiver, because like I said, they're replacing everybody, Cade Wolford. Is a converted running back from a season ago. 5'10", 190, redshirt freshman, only played a little bit, but came as a running back, is now starting off as a receiver. He had 2 catches for 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was the on the receiving end of that 79-yard touchdown pass. Sebastian Brown is going to be more of your traditional receiver there. As a Michigan State grad transfer, 6'2", 195, 3 catches for 50 yards. And then more on the inside, tight end Tariq Mulder, 6'5", 245. So he's got a pretty good size. Redshirt junior, but not heavily utilized. 2 catches for 17 yards. We touched on some of their offensive numbers from last season. They put up 156 passing yards a game at 6.4 yards per attempt, only 77 yards on the ground at 2.7 yards per carry, and we're scoring 13.9 points per game.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think they had 3 games last season where they were completely shut out. I think it was 3. It may have been 4. Defensively, they are worse. They are 130th according to SP Plus, and will be going against the number 4 SP Plus offense. It's not good. What did you find here, Michael?
Okay, hang on a second. This is a new year. Spencer. So
have they turned the page?
It's possible. Let me lay out the case here. So as a unit in 24, you kind of went over the stats. I dug up a couple more. They gave up 7 yards per play in 24. So almost any time a ball was snapped, almost any time it was a first down. They ended up with 18 sacks on the season. They had 4 total interceptions and recovered 7 fumbles. So not a lot of pressure to the quarterback, not turning the ball over very much, but that was in 2024. So Saturday, they hosted Merrimack, won 21-17, as we've discussed. They only allowed 340 total yards. Now, last year, that was over 500. Yeah. So already below average. Merrimack threw 15 of 31. So very poor completion percentage on their part. 15 of 31 for 176 yards, 1 touchdown, 5.7 yards per catch. Rushing, Kent State only allowed 164 yards on 35 carries, right at 4.7 yards per carry. They did not get a turnover, unfortunately. And they only allowed 1 touchdown. So that 1 touchdown was with 8:38 left. Prior to that, the first 5 drives were 3 and outs for Merrimack's offense. The 6th drive within that first 6 set, one of those was just a 4-play drive. Merrimack was 2 of 3 in the red zone, but both of them were field goals, and one of them was a missed field goal. So they never actually scored a touchdown from the red zone. And the defense performed really well on 3rd down, only allowing 3 out of 14 attempts. They also did not allow the only 4th down attempt that was made by Merrimack, which I believe was with a minute and 42 left. Merrimack's only down by 4, and they're driving on Kent State's 41-yard line. So that was a pretty crucial time for the defense to step up, and they did. So, we'll see how this plays out in Lubbock, Texas, against the Red Raiders. But the defense definitely showed some life this last weekend. Leading tacklers versus Merrimack were a couple of linebackers, amassing about 8 or 9 tackles total. CJ Young, he'll be involved in a lot of plays. Mason Woods, Young had 1 solo tackle, but 8 assists, and Woods had 2 solos with 6 assists. And then cornerback Jair, I'm assuming that's right, sorry, Jair Rollinson, he was pretty busy back there on the solo tackles. He had 5 with 2 assists, so 7 total. They did get to the quarterback a couple of times, only twice. So for those 2 sacks, one of them was split between 2 of the defensive linemen, Thomas Aiden and Jelani Davis, and then the other sack was a solo by Jamon back there. Not much, not like what Tech was able to do this last week. But yeah, the linebackers were pretty busy, and they were able to, I would call it sort of a bend but not break kind of defense. They Merrimack got quite a few yards, but not very many points. So there's life there, man. They're coming back.
Yeah, and
They're gonna right the ship.
It's hard because like they're not the same as they were last season, but they've only played one game this season. So it's like, what do you look at? Last season they gave up 251 yards per game through the air at almost 9 yards per attempt, 265 yards in the ground at almost 6 yards per carry. In game 1 versus Merrimack, they cut 150 yards total yards off of that. Scoring defense last season, they were giving up more than 44 points per game. Against Merrimack, they gave up 17. And their one touchdown, like you said, was halfway through the fourth quarter. That will change once they run through their non-conference schedule. But
of course, yeah.
CFB Graphs is updated, so I was able to find this one. Texas Tech, according to the advanced stats preview, has a 95% probability win percentage in this game, winning 49.5 to 1. I don't know how they have a projected point for Kent State, just a single point. But
we're going to get Burgess out there. We're going to get Burgess out there, and it's going to be a safety somehow.
A 1 point safety for
a 1 point safety, an Australian safety.
As you can imagine, if you remember how these graphs work out, like it's a scale from dark blue being the most advantageous matchup, fading into white, which would be neutral, and then light red into dark red. If you look at all of Kent State's stats, they're all dark red. The matchup in the middle is all dark red, except for RROE, which is rush rate over expected. For them, it is white. But for Texas Tech, it is still blue. Essentially, that says how much more often your team runs than the average team in any given situation. So being white here means they run as expected. Texas Tech, blue here, they run less often than the average team in any given situation, which is just goes down to play calling differences there, not like a statistical advantage for one team or the other there. I don't know point-wise projection how to do this, but according, again, to CFB Graphs, has a 48.5 point spread here. That is the point spread with an over-under of 58.5 as of today. I will take Texas Tech to win with the assumption that you will get Behren Morton to start, and his leg does not hinder his leg soreness doesn't cause him to create turnovers. This is essentially what, I don't want his leg to have him not stepping into a throw and it ends up being underthrown or he floats one, and you gift Kent State some possessions there. Give me Texas Tech to win this one 45-6. You don't cover, but it's never in doubt. And you are going to hit the under. I just don't think this is a team like you're just going to roll up on and just continually bash them. No, you know what? I'm gonna revise that. I'm gonna invert the Texas Tech score. Give me 54-6, and that is still not a cover.
It's a tough beat. That's a bad beat.
But it is the over.
Okay, I'm a little bit more bullish, even though I did talk about the defense getting their groove back over in Kent State neighborhood. But I like what I saw this last week. I want to continue this. I think even if Hammond comes in, Texas Tech should be able to put some points on the board. We haven't got to see their, the return game or anything like that get brought into play. Maybe that's something that gets utilized and might get some touchdowns on the board as well. So I've got Texas Tech winning 63-13. It's the over. It's got Tech covering. It's got Kent State getting some random scores in and hopefully garbage time. What more do you want? Because I saw this team score 67 points pretty effortlessly in 46 minutes. I think if they chose to have 60 minutes of us, you should still get at least 60 points.
All right. Let us know what y'all think about predictions for this game. I do want to remind everybody, I do want more show reviews. So if you are new here, obviously thanks for stopping by. We appreciate the download, the listen, the love. You've been here a long time. Go ahead and do us a favor. Get into Apple Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. When you do that, I'm committing to reading 5-star reviews. We had, Michael, a couple of new reviews. So let me get there and let me follow up and make good on what I said I would do.
Yeah. Should I say thank you yet, Spencer? Do you know? Are you reading these for the first time?
I'm reading them for the first time. So
I will thank
garbage?
you for the 5 stars. I hope that the words are positive and good. We shall see.
Why can't I get to the reviews? Why am I?
Oh, the suspense is killing me.
Oh, I just need to scroll down. Okay, here we go. All right, Friday, 5-star review. Title is I Married Into This. Okay, thank you. Female listener here, but I probably know more about football than my Red River husband. I appreciate the preview podcast before each game season, as I usually don't watch many other Big 12 games. I love the instant reaction because I'm always right there with you, laughing or crying, cursing excessively. Strong predictions, high expectations this year, gentlemen. Our thoughts and prayers are with your poor future broken hearts. You don't know that.
That's good. No, that's great. That was excellent. Thank you. Excellent review.
Chris B., the heart of Red River Nation. Spencer and Michael do a great job of capturing the heart and the zeitgeist of Red River Nation. They strike an excellent balance of my perpetual hope of going 12-0 and remaining grounded in reality. I especially look forward to their instant reactions. This is a long one. As they notice the same quirky things that I do, like the lines being barely visible in the K-State Iowa State game at Dublin, or several years ago when Tech was on ESPN Plus and camera crew was just awful. Michael and Spencer called them the D team. I remember I was a member of the Going Band, 99-02, Trumpet Band 2. So I especially love it when they give a shout out to the Going Band and the Alumni Band. I'm writing this review in the car as we drive to Lubbock from Houston to be part of the 1,000-strong alumni. Oh, I'm sorry you didn't get to do it this weekend. Shoot.
Oh man, yeah. Okay, I'll let you finish. And okay, I've got something to say about that.
All right. Lastly, I also love the What Do We Learn segment of the show. It always so random and fun and gives me a little glimpse into the lives of us as the host. I almost want to get Hulu now. I think the one streaming service we don't have or borrow. So I too can rewatch King of the Hill. Keep up the great work, guys. Love the show. Wreck 'em.
That was Chris, right?
Chris B. Yes. Oh, we have another one. Solid Tech Podcast. Okay. Well, gave us 5-star, but then only gave us a solid. Spencer and Michael do an excellent job previewing and recapping each week for football, basketball, as well as keeping up with other Tech sports. Instant reaction episodes are good as they are full of raw emotion. Always good to end each week with What Do We Learn? See,
that was so great, guys. Y'all kicked it out of the park? No, that's not a thing. You knocked it out of the park. There
it is.
That's a phrase.
So you
back
too.
to what Chris was saying. Yeah.
You too can be featured.
Read. Yes. Even if it's just your favorite King of the Hill quotes or episodes, Spencer would probably really love to know what those are. You could just, season 3, episode 4, or whatever. Just put that in the show note. As long as you leave the 5-star review.
5-star
review. I don't know what episode that is.
Yeah. All right. You were talking about Crispy and the Going Band alumni band.
Man, I retweeted that. Someone when the alumni band was in town, filmed the practice of the Going Band. They performed 2 pretty short songs with typical wonderful choreography.
I love your hand motions here. For those,
I know. Well, I can't describe it. It was great. It was wonderful. It was. I think it was Fat Bottom Girls was one of the songs. I can't remember the other one.
That's a thing you said.
Yeah, that's true. It's Queen. But there was during that the band stopped and they stood in like a block formation, and then all of the alumni band ran out and stood in between them. And so you all of a sudden had 3 times as many band members out there.
Nice.
It tripled it. And
I need to go watch that video.
It's really cool. I did retweet it. So if anyone is listening and wants to go watch it, I think it was Dogo's In who got it from somebody. But yeah, if y'all follow me by any chance, I'm at Michael_LBK. It's there somewhere. It's on my feed. It's worth watching. It's like 7.5 minutes. It's fantastic. So you at least get to experience it a little bit. It not quite as full force as probably what it would have been Saturday night, weather permitting, but it still was really cool. I'm glad someone thought to record that and capture it.
How many videos did you consume of the band playing in the concourses during halftime?
What?
Did you not see this?
No.
I
heard about it though. Yes, I heard about it.
Everybody got sent off out of the stadium. There were, because the band is so big, obviously they couldn't just be in one spot. They're kind of spread out. There were several videos of them playing in the concourse, and it wasn't like they were playing their full show or anything. They were playing the fight song or, Matador song or whatever it was.
Gosh, it must have been loud as all get out.
Yeah. Just March Grandioso and stuff like that. But they were playing it in the concourses during the weather delays. That was awesome. I loved it. And then I saw some of the alumni band in there with them performing, and that was just cool.
Yeah, I hated that. Of all the things that went weird that night, that was the thing I hated the most, because you just think of the logistics it took to get all of those people there from wherever they came from, and then not to be able to perform. That's no fun. But I hope that they enjoyed the week and the time practicing with the Going Band, and kind of getting to do it all again. I can imagine how fun that would be. We're both former music nerds. I was in high school band and all that kind of stuff, so I never did it at the collegiate level, but it would be pretty cool. So yeah, all right, I'm glad Chris brought it up.
Let's look around the rest of the Big 12 for week 2, see if there are any games or lines that catch your eye, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Michael, what do you think?
I'm good with it.
All right, Saturday, September 6th, you get Cyhawk, Iowa at Iowa State. Iowa State's a home favorite, 3 points, 11 a.m. I don't know why I said it that way. On Big Fox. Is this the big noon game? I assume it is.
Yeah, this is the big nooner. I'm taking the Cyclones.
Same.
Sure, why not?
Baylor at SMU. SMU is a slight favorite at home, 11 a.m. on the CW. I think Baylor bounces back here.
I kind of do too. There were some good things, like you said. They were able to move the ball. Some of the red zone stuff they did was questionable. The defense, they did allow a really poorly timed 96-yard drive, but 96-yard drive is timed correctly. I do think, though, I think that they'll at least cover. That's what I'll say.
Delaware at Colorado. We touched on this a little bit a while ago. Colorado is a 23.5 point favorite. I think they win and cover. I think that's pretty simple.
I might take Delaware to cover.
Oklahoma State at Oregon. Bloodbath. Oregon's
Ooh.
going to win and cover as a 28.5-point favorite.
I'm
Oregon looked
afraid
pretty
you're
good.
right. Yeah, they did.
That'll be a 2:30 kick on CBS. Bowling Green at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a 3-touchdown favorite. 2:30 on ESPN Plus. I think Cincinnati gets this one here.
Give me Bowling Green because they have a cat as an unofficial mascot. Have you seen Pudge?
No.
Pudge is their locker room cat.
Is this a feral thing?
No, I can't remember if he's a long snapper or a kicker. He just started bringing his cat Pudge to practice, just kind of as a morale booster.
Pudge the cat becomes a viral sensation, serving as university locker room mascot cat thing. Yeah, wow.
Have you seen a picture of him yet?
He doesn't. I wouldn't say he matches I guess he's kind of pudgy. I don't know. I mean, maybe the photo's not doing him justice. I don't know. I'm not a cat guy. I can't.
I am. So I think them having an unofficial cat mascot going to play the Bearcats can only help them with that plus 21.
Okay, so this line's interesting to me. Kansas at Missouri. Missouri's only getting 6.5 points at home. 2:30 ESPN2. This one could be interesting and not a revivalry, but a revival of an old rivalry from the Big 12. I don't think Kansas is that back. I mean, but I also don't know much about Mizzou.
I don't either. But I'm going to pick Kansas to cover.
West Virginia 3-point favorite at Ohio.
That was a weird one to me. I had to double check that they're at. You're going where? You're going to Ohio. We're going to what is that? That's an old song. Who's that
going
band?
to Ohio?
Yeah.
That's probably not that far of a trip for them when you think about it. But if West Virginia is going to have any hopes of making it to a bowl game, they have to get this one.
Yeah.
Cal Poly at Utah is going to be a bloodbath. Army at Kansas State. Kansas State is a 17.5-point favorite. I would have said Army here, but they just lost a double overtime game to a nobody.
How dare you besmirch the name of Tarleton State?
Yeah, but they shouldn't have won that.
Well, no.
And it was a nobody because I couldn't remember who it was.
It's hurtful.
I'm sorry. Are you a lumberjack?
Hurtful for all my Stephenville kindred folks out there. Actually, I don't know. I have no connection to them.
Tarleton State. What's their mascot?
I don't know.
Tiger.
I don't know. I'm like you. I kept thinking lumberjacks. I'm like, no, that's not right. They're purple, and it's a different
Texan Rider.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, I don't know. North Carolina A&T at UCF. UCF's going to win this one. Houston at Rice. Just strange because they're two Houston teams. Give me Houston to cover this one, 12.5 points.
I agree.
Arizona State, 7-point favorite on the road at Mississippi State. 6:30 ESPN2.
I'll take the Sun Devils. I'll take them to cover.
Give me Mississippi State to cover. They'll still probably win, but give me a little bit closer. Weber State at Arizona. Arizona's going to win this one going away. Stanford at BYU. BYU is a big favorite here, 18.5-point favorite, at least to me. That seems like a big line for BYU. And obviously we talked about, well, okay. I think BYU wins and covers.
I agree. Stanford lost to Hawaii.
Oh, it was weird though, wasn't it?
It was by 3. They lost to Hawaii, who then Arizona beat 40-6.
Yeah.
And BYU just won 69-0. So I don't know.
Nice.
Go Cougs.
And then we talked about Texas Tech being a 48.5. Of all the games that have a line, that's the biggest. Only team on a bye this week is going to be TCU. Any other games you're looking at around the great sport of college football this weekend, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful. I have a note in here. Week 2, more like week 2. SMH, but yeah, I've got a handful I'll keep in there. I've got a Ole Miss at Kentucky. That's always an interesting kind of matchup. Michigan and Oklahoma. I don't even know who Oklahoma played last week. I think they're ranked. I want to see what the hell they're up to, what they deserve of that ranking. So that one's interesting to me, and just two names that you don't see play each other very often. And then for some reason, UCLA at UNLV kind of intrigued me some. And maybe it's just because they're both 4 letters. But that could be interesting.
Oklahoma hosted Illinois State and beat them 35-3.
Ah, good for them. Good for the Sooners.
Yeah, I would say UCLA at UNLV would kind of be interesting to see where UCLA is, but they both could be nobodies.
Yeah, I know, but I think it was a later time, wasn't it? That was part of the reason why I was interested in it.
Well, I'm sure it is West Coast.
Yeah, I think of those, Michigan and Kentucky. Nope. Oh my gosh, I mixed the first
Michigan,
2 games I said.
Michigan at Oklahoma, Ole Miss and Kentucky.
Yep, there it is.
All right, let's wrap this up. What did we learn?
Okay.
I don't have the sound for it. We're just going to roll right into it. Speaking of band, it reminded me, my oldest is in middle school now and has band as an offering, and he's decided he wants to be in a double music elective. He's in orchestra again and is in band. And he had plans on doing this while we were in Lubbock too. He went to the band preview night at Cooper and did their instrument previews, apparently did well, performed the best sounds. I wasn't there for this, but on the euphonium, and I was like, you don't want to play the euphonium.
I knew you would have a strong opinion on that.
Which is what I'm not in the band.
You were orchestra.
I play the violin. But I know that, like, I don't know. Let me look it up real quick. Euphonium, yeah, it's like a tenor voiced member of the tuba family.
Yeah, I think it's what we used to refer to as a baritone, but or it's very similar.
Sure. Very expensive to buy this thing new. Well, as are most instruments. Also did well on the trombone. And then when he came down here, did well on the trombone and the saxophone. And the band director wants him to play the saxophone. I was like, I don't like it.
How dare you?
But because it's just, I think, and this is me projecting what I would want on. And I've tried to remove myself and tell him, because we're not going to buy this instrument. We're going to have to rent it. And we were frustrated with, like, sure, we show up into this new school district as a new kid, and they suggest to rent the most expensive of the instruments and the saxophone. I was like, I would want to play the trombone. So I'm like, you should do the trombone. But we're trying to let him make the decision. We need to make that soon because he needs at least mouthpieces, because they're going to start working on making sounds that way starting next week.
Yeah, he'll need him some reeds.
Yeah, or the mouthpiece if he's going to be trombone. But every time we ask him, he's like, I've already decided. I've already told you. We're like, no, but like we actually have to tell us now. We have to go do something about it. But Grayson will be in the band this year. So band and orchestra.
Well,
he's a nerd, and that's wonderful.
Awesome. That's good. Yeah, I played saxophone. I played at our little school. They had tenor saxophones available. And, we were small, so we didn't have to pay for it. But that was my parents' deal was, okay, you pick an instrument that they have at the school for free.
Well,
and then we'll work into possibly buying you one. And that was what I did. So the first year I was a 6th grader, I played a tenor sax. 7th grade, I thought it'd be a great idea to play baritone sax. And I remember marching with that thing in the homecoming parade. It was just like, you're 13 and you're playing a baritone sax. That thing probably is about as tall as I was at the time. And it was fun though. I enjoyed it. And then I switched to alto and never looked back 8th grade on.
Yeah. So I don't know. My experience with the saxophone is it's just not a very pleasing instrument to listen to. It's true for any instrument.
It is.
So let me just get that out of the way. I'm not
especially when you're just listening to it play its one part.
Or, you have a 6th grader learning the instrument. It's like, do we want to subject ourselves to that or the trombone? It's probably all the same.
Yeah. Which one do you want to hear play Louie Louie? Which one do you want to hear play Smoke on the Water?
So anyways, that's what we're at. We're trying to figure out what band instrument he's going to play and how we're going to figure this out. They don't the school he's at they go in seniority level of instruments and what ones get rented out from the school. And as an incoming 6th grader, he has no options left. So
yep, understood. All right, well, keep me updated. We'll have to have that as a section, at least till next week when it's decided.
You don't still happen to have your saxophones, do you?
No,
couldn't just come up to Lubbock and borrow them from you, rent them from you.
Yeah, I had a Yamaha alto that I really liked, but no, I think I did finally part ways with it. I've thought about getting back into it because there's a big band group here in Lubbock, and I think I could probably try out and make that if I practiced, got back in the groove again. I could probably make that. We'll see.
Yeah,
we won't see. It's never going to happen. Okay, so I've got 2 updates. Since you were talking about your kids, I'll talk about mine real quick. Queen Bee Soccer is back, baby. We've got game 1 Saturday. There's already been a couple of practices. I think there's going to be a 3rd practice before game 1. The game is, of course, at 3:30, which
great
is pretty good. I'll be able to watch all of the Kent State game that matters. So that's great. That was good timing. But yeah, Queen Bee Soccer's back. Pretty excited about that. I was watching her run today, and I would say more often than not she frolics as opposed to runs, but I know that she's capable of it. And today, for some reason, she had the turbos on. She had the nitrous going, and so I got to see her just flat out running, and her stride is so long, and she just would surprise me. Like, oh well, whoa, she stopped it, like, because she loves playing defense. Anyway, excited about that. We're back, and the other thing I wanted to mention was I went to Texas Roadhouse recently, and I wanted to Roadhouse. Do you know when the last time that was?
Sorry, you broke up there, so I don't know what you were asking.
Oh, you're good. I saw that I lost connection, so that makes sense. I was asking you when the last time you went to Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, it has been a minute. Probably a couple of years. Let's see, where were we? Yeah, it's been a while. Probably say just a couple of years.
I have been staunchly anti-Texas Roadhouse solely because of how busy it is. There was no other reason, no other like had a bad experience and just never went, nothing like that. It was just like it can't be. It's not. What are we doing? There's a ton of other places to go. Let's not mess with this one. Whatever. And so finally, it's probably been a decade, man. And I would say the only time I went to Texas Roadhouse while I lived in Lubbock, I went to Texas Roadhouse more in Abilene when I lived there than I ever did here. But So the one here, I probably would like 5 times. And so they've been in their new building for probably 2 years now. I hadn't been. And
If that, yeah.
Yeah. And so I hadn't been to the new building. But anyway, I had a weak moment. My wife brought up the rolls and the cinnamon butter. And we were talking about, I wanted to take my mom out to eat for Labor Day, and she suggested Texas Roadhouse. Are you there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. The last I heard is you were going with a mom out to Texas Roadhouse.
I have no idea why that's being a problem. Nothing has changed in my house.
It could be our internet.
So I'll keep this brief in case I cut out again. Well, I'll save it. Texas Roadhouse was fantastic.
Okay.
My steak was perfectly cooked. It was well seasoned. The baked potato was just perfect. The rolls were perfect. They were almost so hot you couldn't touch them. That is not a complaint. The house salad was as good as I remember. I remember really liking the ranch and that they put the egg in the salad and it comes out on like an ice cold plate. And service was great. You left with like 2 bags of peanuts. We're going back, and I was just fawning over it the whole time. And the whole time my wife was like, "See, we could have been doing this for years." I'm like, I know. I don't know what my deal was. I got a beer and it was $3.
We spend more on a soda at a restaurant these days.
Why was I fighting this? I don't know. So yes. The 4 of us ate for a great price. And my daughter got the little hamburger sliders. Those looked really good. Her fries were good. Everyone got something different. My wife got a filet. My mom got chicken. I got the ribeye. And my daughter got the little burger sliders, and everyone loved everything they had. Even my daughter was like, "Why haven't we gone here?" Like,
we had I
don't know.
We had a similar experience when we went out for Grayson's birthday to Olive Garden, where like we hadn't been to Olive Garden in many, many years. We're like, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah, right. Well, the thing, the salad, like the salad and breadsticks.
Demolished the salad.
Oh my gosh.
Peppers. I was taking up.
Yes.
We had enough at our table, like enough people at our table. We had, I think, 3 or 4 bowls of salad. And I was picking out peppers from all the salads.
Yeah,
and
the big black peppers. Olives, and yeah,
God, I want those. I want the peppers.
Oh man, that and the breadsticks. You're already off to a pretty good start. You're already family.
Yeah,
when those come out.
Well, alrighty then. I think that'll do it for us here on the 23 Personnel Podcast. Let me see if I can get the outro going. Maybe. There we go. We will be back on Saturday to recap at some point, maybe not instantly, but recap the game against the Kent State Golden Flashes. And then we'll get back next week to preview Oregon State. But thanks for hanging out with us. If you can, go leave us a 5-star review. I'll read it on the next show. For Michael, I'm Spencer. Catch you guys next time.
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at Punt Suck, and Michael at Michael_LBK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.